It is Zena Krogadal, your American Dreammakers host. Welcome. If you are watching tonight, I would love for you to go ahead and share this out. We've got a fantastic guest joining us this evening. So make sure you share it because he's got some fun things to share with us today. His name is Jim Miller. And also, if you are watching this on the replay, would love for you to comment on it. And then if you find value, absolutely share it out. And of course, if you're not following American Dreammakers yet, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, American Dreammakers. Can also like and subscribe to Zena Krogadal. I am on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and I'm also on TikTok. So I'd love to connect with you all. So I am going to get started here. So here, I'm going to play the intro video. So here we go. Welcome back. So this is very exciting. I met Jim at Momentum Masters. Actually, I met Jim on Grow Live, on the screen in a mastermind, but I got to meet Jim live and in person at Momentum Masters in Dallas at the beginning of January. And let me tell you, he is a fantastic guy. He is doing so many awesome things. He's certainly someone you definitely want to meet in person. But tonight, you're not going to get to meet him in person. You are going to meet him on this live stream. And if you are watching, please share this out. And if you're here, let us know that you're here. And please don't be shy. Feel free to comment in and let us know that you're here. If you are on Facebook, if you can go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission, we can see your name. Otherwise, it pops up Facebook user. But if it pops up Facebook user, you can just type in your name and let us know who you are so that we can see. It's always fun when there's interactions. So without further ado, let's meet Jim Miller. Hello, Jim.
Zena, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing? Can you believe that it's been just about a month since we saw each other in person in Dallas?
I know it's gone so fast. But you know what? It's been so bizarre because that event is like resonating inside me. It's that energy that I absorbed there is still like overflowing. It was such a great event.
I agree. What was the biggest highlight for you at that event?
Well, it's a great question. I was trying to articulate that. Lisa and I were talking about it, and what came to me was, after being away from it for 3 weeks, I'm still got this buoyancy that of energy that I'm feeling, and it's permeating my whole life, and I'm attracting some really fun people into my life now, and it's just marvelous. From a like a notes side and practical thing, something that I've found myself using now that Glenn Morshower shared is 5 words. And it's that's old, I'm new, goodbye.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Powerful. So what's old and what's new, and what are you saying goodbye to then?
Well, that's where, when you're becoming somebody, better every day, which is one of my primary goals in life, is always striving to become better. As you're going into situations that are maybe uncomfortable or unknown to you, sometimes your body wants to protect you. Your mind wants to protect you. So it comes up with these things, these old tapes, these things that go, oh, that's going to be a bad thing. Don't do that. Or that's scary. Or that's, you should be afraid of that. And when I feel that now, I've got the perspective. I can stop that thought and tell it, that's old, I'm new, goodbye, and I replace it with what I want. And that reprograms basically it's creating new neuron structures in my brain. There's a physical activity that happens with that. And you're compounding neurons in your brain to create new thoughts and new expressions and new ways of thinking and new mindsets. And you do that on the fly every day, and it becomes a habit. So we get better and better and better every day.
Yeah,
Does
isn't
that
that
make any
amazing?
sense at all?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's amazing the human brain. You know, we used to think that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but we're not dogs, first of all. And
Well, dogs are smart. They can learn too.
but but secondly, we can no longer use that excuse anymore because the
Right.
brain is amazing and the science, the neuroscience behind it is phenomenal. The neuroplasty of the brain is
Yes.
just remarkable. And you are right, Jim, that we can replace our thoughts and we can change. It takes effort because as you know, as you're doing it, some at the beginning, like anything else, when you're learning something new, it takes a lot of energy to because those thoughts keep coming up and you have to consistently fight it. But as time goes
Right.
on, what I find is that it gets easier and easier. So are you finding that to be true yourself?
I am, but you know what? The longer I do it, the more depth I find and the more junk I'm finding that's in there that's like completely useless to me, but my brain still thinks it needs it. And it's such a blessing to be able to pull that out and dump it because it's not serving me anymore. And having those tools like that's old, I'm new, goodbye is so powerful for being able to do that. And it's bringing so much. I'm able to see and express more joy every day, I think.
That is so awesome. And then Lisa came with you
Yes.
to this event. Was she planning to come with you, or was that kind of a last minute thing?
Well, no, she was planning to come, but she was planning to spend the time writing her book. She's working on a book. And so, and then I just had this whisper, another thing we talked about that bring her into the first meeting. You know, was the whisper to see. And Ken said there's no seats left. You know, so I thought, well, you know, it'd be cool if Lisa could be there for the weekend, and if there was any more tickets left. Well, she got the last ticket. Somebody had canceled because they were sick, so she snuck in at the last minute. And wow, I that was so cool to have her there and being, you know, because our commitment to each other is to grow next to each other side by side and go through life side by side. So having her there, it was so impactful. You know, one person goes to an event by themselves, they grow, and the other person doesn't. That's a problem. And so it
Yeah.
was really nice to have her there. So we're both buoyed up by going to that event, especially, and the people that we met, like you, and you know, in person, and being able to share stories and share, you know, break bread together and do fun things and just experience some really, really great um, life building experiences. So it
Yeah.
was great.
I am so glad that she was able to get in, and obviously it was meant to be. Very grateful that you listened to the whisper and brought her along, not knowing that she was going to be able to attend the event, but just in case. And
Yeah.
look at you go. Because as I'm listening to you talk, I know you were talking about how you're attracting so many different things, and that is probably the truth. But you've also become open to receiving those things because those things were probably already around, but I'm
Yeah.
guessing that you have gotten yourself into a place where you're now open to receive that and recognizing it, and that's beautiful. And I see the joy and the glow in your face. That is so cool. uh,
Well, thank you.
and you live in Southern California, correct?
Yeah, yeah, little town called Temecula. It's about an hour drive north of San Diego, and we're known for our wine country.
It is a beautiful country. My daughter went to college there in Murrieta, Temecula area, and
Really?
gorgeous. So Yes. So yeah, she
Wow.
was out there for a couple of years, and I think she would have stayed if she could have gotten a job and could have afforded to stay. But it's a little more cost of living is a little bit more in that area, and for starting out for the young people, sometimes it's a little challenging. But
Yes, definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
They are
Well, I
starting to
can't.
build more high density home properties now. There's a lot of apartments going up, but but
That's
those are still pricey.
yeah, yeah, they're supposed to be affordable living, right? And then yet the apartments are still pricey. It's interesting to kind of watch because I think the apartment building has been going around nationwide. So that is going to be interesting to watch and see what it does to the rental market because,
Yeah.
I'm sure
Are
you
you an
notice
investor?
am I an investor? Well, I work with investors because Chris and I do real estate.
Yeah.
So we pay attention to that,
Yeah. Okay.
market. Absolutely. That's,
That's cool. I'm looking at an investment right now in Arizona. Just
oh,
starting to
you
look at
are?
it. Yeah. I'm like, that's exciting to me. That's one of my 5 shifts is building generational wealth. And so that's a very important aspect of, I think, intelligently getting involved with real estate. That's in a way that's exciting and comfortable for you
Mhm.
is a good thing to do. So I'm working on that right now.
Now you're working with a real estate agent or a professional? Because I do recommend that you do that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Good.
I've been a realtor in the past.
Oh,
I
great.
used to sell loans for a microsecond right before 2001. It's crazy. Right before the crash in 2001. So that was a bad time for that. But I did get some training. I've taken some high level courses in real estate finance. So I've got enough to be dangerous. can check out the deals.
That's good. I always recommend, because even if I'm the listing agent, I always want people to know that they actually, have the option to get their own representation. And the honest truth, I really recommend getting own representation so that you solely have somebody that is just working for you and there's not that divided, with the dual agency. And so,
Right.
and especially when you're looking at investments, because as you know, since you are in that, um, hey, hey, Brock. Speaking of real estate agents, so this is Brock. Welcome. Thank you. Happy Friday to you too. Love for you to join in on this conversation since we're talking about investments here. Brock is a real estate agent in the North Carolina state of North Carolina. So
Oh, cool.
he works
Okay.
he works with a lot of investors as well. So anyways, as that you've been in the industry. Uh, you have to double check the numbers because some people, first of all, I kind of wonder if some people just don't know how to do their math and their calculations because sometimes when I go back to do it, I'm like, how did you get this cap rate? I don't understand.
Yeah. What is that? A cap rate of 7? Where is that? No, it's supposed to be 12. What is this?
Yeah. Oh, Brock does novations and investors wholesalers. Awesome, Brock. That's great. Uh, yeah, that's
All
a
right.
skill
Wow.
set right there that Brock's got for sure. But yeah, looking at numbers, looking at cap rates, looking at cash flow, all those numbers can get tweaked if you're not doing the right mathematics and the formulas. And so I love that part of commercial real estate and investment properties for that reason because it really causes my mind to really have to be active and really watch for my clients, making sure that the numbers really are adding up and that sort of thing. And so I'm excited for you that you're looking at investing in apartments, and that's a fun thing for sure,
Yeah, it's
for sure.
exciting. It gets the blood going for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about your background, Jim. Uh, give us a little bit of insight as to what you had been doing, where you're going now, and why is this an exciting adventure for you right now?
Oh, thank you, Zena. My background, I'm 66 now, so there's a lot of ground to cover. But I my early childhood was an adventure. I think I lost my inner child. That's one of the other things from this last event. Dennis um, came. There's a gentleman named Dennis. I can't remember his last name, but he came in and did a talk in Texas, and one of the things he talks about was to get reacquainted with your inner child. So I've found and embraced my little boy again, and
Brock
that's
says you
where.
look great for 66.
Oh, thanks. I've got that fuzzy thing going on with it. No, it's thank you. Um, the thing about being embracing my little boy has brought back a new energy for me, a way for me to find enthusiasm about life and to add that adventure that I lost, that sense of let's go try it. Let's go do it. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's go try it anyway. I used to do a lot. I was a snow skier. I've jumped out of airplanes. I've flown airplanes. I've belayed off of rocks, on rappelled off of rocks on rope. I've done scuba diving. I'm an advanced underwater diver, and I love to do outdoor adventurous things. I'm not an expert at any of them, but I just love to go do them and do them in a way that's safe and fun. And so, but I lost that. I lost a lot of that going into college and then getting a job and then buying a house and getting a family. It all became doing that. And then I got lost in the corporate. I became a corporate chameleon, I think. And that was an experience that I would not recommend anybody do. I that was a mistake. And it ended up, I did well in my career, but in the end, I was left with nothing. I was completely drained and completely left with nothing. I lost my family. I lost my wife. I lost my home. I lost everything. And then COVID hit, and I lost a job that I had, and my health was falling down. I got my body basically filed divorce papers on me. This was in like February of 2020, and so I've had to pull the reins back and stop everything and pay attention to what I have, and just go back to the basics again. And it's actually probably really fortunate that COVID happened, because I didn't have anything else to do. I had to focus on myself. So
Yeah.
I read, I learned a bunch of stuff, all kinds of amazing things about my body, about my entity, I call it now, because it's so smart, so intelligent, and how to feed it, how to take care of it, how to nurture it, how to love it. And then putting together, once I've stabilized my body and I figured out what was going on with it. And I also did this without medications, without, I started to go into went to my doctor. They said, you're fine, go home. You're okay. But I wasn't. So it's like, okay, I got to figure this out. So I dug in, and I fortunately had some really good people in my life that said, here, go here, read this, do this, do this. And I did it, and it's been working. And I, in the process, learned all about my body and fasting and intermittent fasting and how to eat, my microbiome, and about exercising and how my body works, all the different fluid systems in my body, and how my body creates energy through the mitochondria, and how it processes food, and when is the best time to do it, and what kind of foods, and where does my microbiome fit in all that, and how do I feed it? How do I nurture it? Because I've learned is a very critical part of my daily existence. So, and it's a partner to me. It's all these microbes that are in and around us all the time. And we have quite a bit of control over what the population looks like. And that population can benefit you or hinder you, depending on what's there. And
Yeah.
because I want to have an optimum life and make my best life, designing and living my best life now, I've stopped looking at myself as a victim of my life. I think that's where I was at. I was a victim of my life. And basically I was on the path to die.
Wow.
And I had to stop that. So all these things I'm doing, I've got five shifts that I'm taking now. And I've got some amazing people helping me with that, coaches and people that I know, and books and things that I've accumulated so far that I'm just absorbing and learning from and doing things. I'm actually doing things, and that's really the key. Is you can learn stuff, but then actually doing it that's the where it really comes together. And
Yeah.
I've found in the last 2 years, Zig Ziglar has said, it's okay to suck at something that's worthwhile doing for a little while. And I've been going through this period where I've suck at doing things, but I'm getting better and I'm seeing that the progress. So yeah, so I've got my 5 things, which are, if you want to hear that,
Yeah,
are
absolutely. But I want to say hi to Michelle, Tools for the
okay, yeah.
Trade.
Hi, Michelle.
Michelle, yeah, Michelle's on here watching you and listening to you. So I just wanted to give her a shout out and say hello, and that glad you're here, Michelle. And don't be shy. If you got questions for Jim as he's talking, feel free to type it into the chat. We'd love to hear those questions. So yeah, Jim, tell us about those 5 shifts that you
Yeah,
are.
my 5 shifts. Well, they came about through my process of understanding my body. And I came up this kind of, I hope this isn't confusing, but I've got 5 things that I learned from the blue zones for longevity. And the 5 things for longevity are diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and community service. So I started doing those 5 things to get myself back and healthy again. And I'm still doing those. But then I've expanded it now to design and build my best life. And so those 5 things that I've determined are what I want to do to create that and live it are habits that I do every day. Things that I'm doing every day, that incrementally doing a little bit every day are growing. First one is becoming. When I was younger, I was focusing on becoming a lot. And then I kind of left it to the side because I was like, well, I'm a professional. I'm just focused on doing this. So my becoming kind of got put off to the side. That was a mistake. You always want to be learning and growing and doing and meeting and stepping out into the unknown, because it just brings so much pleasure and texture to your life. The second one is you want to have longevity. I want to live my life a long time and then just at the last minute die. And I want to spend time in a wheelchair or in a walker. I don't want to just be diseased and barely living on all these medications and chronically ill. I just doesn't I don't want to do that. So that's why I took all the effort to figure out why my body works, what I need to feed it to and nurture it and love it and do it on a daily basis, and that's another reason that I'm doing this fast, that I was going to do my meter. I got a glucose and ketone meter, and we can do that in a bit. And then, so becoming, longevity, then I want to build an audience. I think it's important to build an audience. I don't care who you are. If you're an employee, if you've got a career, even if you're making $500,000 a year as an employee doing executive somewhere, or if you're an employee working at minimum wage. Today, with today's technology, and this technology we're on right now is so inexpensive to access, even to your own town. If you could get 100, even 10, 100, maybe 1,000 people that are listening to you about something you are passionate about and talk about it, even 10 minutes a day, just get on your cell phone. That's how I started doing this. I got on my cell phone. I did 3 to 6 minutes, and I did that 100 times over 100 days. And the first 20, I hated it. It was just so it was so awkward. But I kept remembering that Zig Ziglar. It's okay to suck at something worthwhile for a while. So kind of hear his voice in there. But so just start doing something, build your audience, and that will give you confidence. It will help you, give you impetus to become more and help you to explore things that you have no idea life can bring for you, and the joy that you will see. I can't tell you what it is, because it's up to you and for you to discover it, but I know it's there for you. It's just a matter of stepping out of your comfort zone, going into the unknown a little bit every day, and being open to experience it, and you'll blossom. So that's the third thing, building an audience. The fourth thing is creating generational wealth. To have a really good life today, I think that building wealth is important. And there's things you can learn. And I don't care what level, I don't care if you went to college, I don't care if you don't even have a high school degree. You can learn this stuff and you can put it to work for you. And it's very accessible. You just got to know where to look. And it doesn't cost money to learn it. It just costs time and dedication and a willingness to put it in place for yourself incrementally over time to make it grow, and not depend on what your employer tells you to do, not depend on anybody else. You got to, that's probably the biggest thing that I did when I made my change is for my health, is I decided that I am 100% responsible for me, for my health, not the doctor, not my employer, not my mom, not my dad, me. I'm responsible for my health. So what do I need to do to nurture and love my body? And then what can I do to make that happen? So asking yourself those questions and then do it. So generational wealth. Go ahead.
Oh, keep going.
And and then building that wealth generationally. So you're today, you have to be wealthy to have access to this knowledge, but you don't. There's ways through trusts and other things that you can build your wealth, protect it, and pass it on to whoever you want to. You could pass it on to a nonprofit. You could pass it on to your kids. You could pass it on to whoever you want to. But you have the ability to generate wealth and create comfort and be able to give more from a position of strength. And that's where I want to be. I've been broke. I've had nothing. I got everything ripped away from me, and I'm done with that. I'm done with it. And so I'm dedicated myself now to building generational wealth for me and my loved ones. And I'd love it if that sparked something in you. That'd be cool. And then the fifth thing is community service. I learned when I was practicing my 5 things for the longevity and what I learned in the blue zones, that community service was a vital aspect of people living 100 years or older in their life. And I started doing that. One of them is I started a podcast. I do a podcast called Bold Leadership Stories, and that's on YouTube. You can share that if you want. Bold Leadership Stories. on
Bold
YouTube.
leadership voice. You got it.
Yeah. And then, so that's my community service. One of the things. And then I also volunteer up. There's a wilderness area where I live called the Plateau, and they raise funds in the summertime. They do concerts outdoors, and I go up and help put those concerts on and bring people in, and they raise money. And what they do with that money is they bring inner city kids up to the plateau to experience nature in its natural state. So kids who've never been in the wilderness and have never seen a coyote run across the field or experienced the birds in the trees and the breeze and maybe a snake slithering through the grass in its natural habitat, uh, they get the chance to experience that. And to me, that's wonderful. So I love participating there. And I tell you, the time I've put in and what I've gotten in return in terms of, the relationships that I've built, the people I've met, the experiences that I've had, and the joy that I'm participating in bringing to others, is it can't put a price on it. So I love doing that. And I encourage everybody on my show now to take a little bit of time every show to talk about volunteering somewhere in your town. Take an hour a week, maybe 2 hours a week, and you can do it at your church. A lot of people do that, and that's great. But take the step further and go out into your community. Find a nonprofit that there's probably 100 of them within 10 miles of you. 100 nonprofits. Go find one and volunteer. I'm sure. Just call them up and say, "You need any help?" And they'll probably say, "Well, yeah, I do." "Well, what can you do for me?" And you go, "Well, whatever you want." And you just go and do it, and just be happy that you're helping a nonprofit add value to your community. And that's a beautiful thing. And I encourage you to do it. You cannot underestimate the joy that will bring you. So those are my 5 things.
That's awesome, Jim. Thank you for sharing those 5 things. So, I mean, that's a lot. So I'm glad you're writing a book so that you can get into
Yeah.
details about it, right? So that's awesome. Now, you mentioned that you're fasting right now. You're going to check the blood glucose. Tell us a little bit about this fasting and why you chose to do this fasting.
Well, part of my health journey, one of the things I learned from Dr. Jason Fung is that fasting is beneficial. And also there's an MD, her name is Dr. Boz, is her nickname. It's Annette Bosworth, MD, and she's on YouTube. And I've learned that my body benefits from something called autophagy or apoptosis. And what happens when you fast, one of the things, besides losing weight, everybody says, "Well, I want to fast because I want to lose weight." To me, that's like a side benefit. The most important thing for me is to clean my body out of cells that are no longer up to par. And what that does is it's like weeding your garden and pulling out all the junk that doesn't do anything, that attracts other junk and has a higher potential of becoming bad things like cancer. So in fact, I had a test. The reason I'm so committed to this now is I had a test done by a company called Viome, Viome.com. And they send you a kit, and you send away all your stuff, your, urine sample and poop sample and all that stuff, then saliva. They test everything. Well, it came back with some good things and some not so good things. And one of the things that was good to me was that my body is younger metabolically than I am chronologically. So I'm 66.
That's why you look so young.
Well, yeah, maybe. They said I was 58. So I'm younger. My cells are younger because I think because I'm doing these things and I'm able, my body, what happens is you stress your cells, and there's various ways to do that. One of them is fasting. And when you stress them, the cell would say, raise its little hand and say, I can't handle this stress. And so your mitochondria, which is an organelle inside your cells that's designed to do this, and it's actually the it's very important little organelle in each of your cells that produces energy for you. The mitochondria will go into that cell that's not doing well and pull it out and replace it with a new cell, and then take the old cell and grind it up and recycle it. It takes the amino acids and the proteins and whatever it can recycle, and it does that, and the rest it dumps. So that's the basically the process that it uses. So in order for that to work, you have to stress your cells somehow. So exercise, do fasting, sit in a hot water bath or a cold water bath, or like Wim Hof does, climb Mount Everest with your shirt off. So it's doing those things on a continuous basis that enables your body to regenerate itself and stay healthy, and it builds your immunity to things like, maybe I won't say it, but yeah. So that's what I'm doing. And the fasting, I'm doing a 6-day fast. This is the 4th one that I've done, and it's 6 days is a challenge. I've done many 3 days. I did an 8-week period of time where I did 3 days, 3 days a week during those 8 weeks where I fasted. And that was an experience, but it was pretty easy. This 6-day is tougher because it's 6 days. And all I do is I eat, I don't eat any food. I drink water. I have green tea, and we have trace minerals, and we do charcoal, activated charcoal, as your body goes into ketosis. And because it doesn't have the fuel that we normally eat, doesn't have sugars anymore, it doesn't have carbohydrates anymore to draw from, it starts finding other places to find fuel. I'm now, it's called keto adapted or metabolically flexible, which means that my body it's like a multi-fuel car. And it's absorbing, it's taking fuel now from my fat stores and from my microbiome. I feed my microbiome certain foods, and they generate fuel. One of them is called butyrate. There's a series of those they're like a chemical factory down there, and they produce products that feed you. But the only way you can access that is if you're metabolically flexible. And the only way to do that is to get into ketosis. The only way to do that is to not eat for a period of time. So that's why I'm doing this. And so I want to, and part of this process makes it kind of fun. It's like I'm taking score. I'm playing the basketball game of fasting, and I'm using a scoreboard, and that's what this is. It's like, if you don't do it, like to me, it's like playing a basketball game without a scoreboard. It's like, why? Where am I? So if you're okay with me doing a test here live?
Yeah, go ahead. Let me put you to the forefront here. Show us what you do. So you go ahead and walk us through it.
Here's what I have. I have fingers. I'm going to use this finger today, and I prick the finger, and then I have a meter, and I have a little stick on it that goes in, and it pulls up a little bit of that blood, and it analyzes it. And I've got 2 different types of analyze. I do one for glucose and one for ketones. And I'm on the first day of my fast. Last meal I had was at 10 p.m. last night. So where am I? We're almost at 18 hours, something like that. So it's probably longer than that, like 20 hours. Yeah, about 18 hours. So what I do is I take this little guy here, and I prick my finger with it. First, I got to clean it. So I take a little take a little swab and I clean my finger. This is an alcohol swab. So I clean my finger with that. And then I wipe it with some cotton. And then I take I'll put in the meter, this one is for ketones. So I put this little tab in, and it's going to collect the blood sample and have it go into, I don't know if you can see the numbers on there, but
Can't see the numbers, but how did you collect the sample? Did you already prick your finger?
I haven't done it yet. So I'm going to do that right now. So I take this guy and I just click this little button and the little needle comes out.
What's
and
it feel like?
Blood. You can see the blood there, right?
What's
So
it feel
I wipe
like?
off. It's just like a little prick. It doesn't hurt.
Okay.
So I just take that little bit of, wiped off the first bit, and then I just take the see if you can see that, where it just absorbs that little bit of blood, and then it starts pumping out a number. So this is going to tell me what my ketones are. Or I'm sorry, that's my glucose.
Okay.
So I'm at 95.
And where do you want it? What numbers are you looking at?
Well, it's kind of a relative thing. I want it to be down around 86, 85, 86, and it's high right now. I think it's because I haven't been exercising enough. I've still got some glucose in my system from the Christmas holidays when I was indulging in all the stuff. But I want to take a note that this was 95, and so that's a number that I can use. So that means I want it to be under 100. If you're over 100 for a consistent basis, then there's a good chance that you're hypoglycemic and you might be pre-diabetic or diabetic. So it's just a good way to check it, you know? So I do this periodically. And then the second one is my ketones. And hopefully I won't have to prick my finger again. Might have to. I'm trying to get some more blood here. So I've got, this one is the ketones. So we'll do this again. And click the finger, wipe the first bit off, and then we'll take that and absorb it. And it's calculating. This one I'm thinking should be 0.6. Wow, I'm at 0.6 already. That's amazing.
And what do you want the numbers at for that?
Well, that means that I'm generating ketones now. And the last one I did, I think maybe I got up to 0.4 over the whole 6 days. And I'm already at 0.6 on the first day. So that's really good. That's really good. So I'm happy that my body is producing ketones, and it's really, and I don't feel hungry. I haven't eaten in all that time. I really do not feel hungry at all. And my body is happy. I've got energy, no problems. So all systems go.
Now, out of curiosity, so just for conversation sake here, so there's the keto diet that's very popular. Your body produces ketones in that. How is fasting different than doing a keto diet?
Keto is intermittent fasting to me.
Okay.
You know what intermittent fasting is like, yes. That's what I do normally. I have what's called an eating window. And so I'm fasting, which is why I'm doing so well here, I think, is that I eat basically one big meal a day, and I have an eating window. And typically that's an eating window from 3 o'clock to maybe 7 o'clock at night. Sometimes it's later, but so I'm fasting from 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock the following day, every day. So that's like 18 hours a day I'm fasting. And I do that 7 days a week. And to me, that's intermittent fasting. And I break that eating window up into basically two things. I have the first meal that I eat when I break my fast, my 18-hour fast, is called a mono meal. And the reason, and it's made up of either a protein, a carbohydrate, or some kind of vegetable. And so, and the reason I do that is to make it easy for my mitochondria to produce energy with it. It just makes it, you eat one thing. I'll eat a bowl of nuts, or I'll eat some meat, or I'll eat a plate of vegetables, and that's one meal, and that mono meal. And I feel a lot of energy from that. So that's been a really wonderful thing to be able to do.
How often do you check?
Go ahead.
How often do you check your blood glucose and ketones then when you're fasting?
When I'm fasting, I do it 3 times a day. I do it first thing when I get up, and then in the afternoon around now, and then I'll do it before I go to bed. And I put this data on a spreadsheet, and I track it, and I do some calculations with it. And then I make notes about how I felt and what I drank, and I do supplements too. We do a special supplement. They're just kind of a narrowed down group of supplements that we take, including the charcoal, the activated charcoal, to pull the heavy metals out. I started talking about that, but I didn't finish it. Yeah, when your body starts eating, getting into the fat stores, your body, if you had any heavy metals accumulation, it'll be in those fat stores. And when you fast, that comes out. And if you don't absorb it and get rid of it, it'll get reabsorbed in your body. So we take activated charcoal in an effort to, when that heavy metals, if there's any there, are brought back into the system, the charcoal will absorb them and carry them out.
Okay.
So we don't have to deal with them anymore. Yeah. So it's good. That's another good reason to just get rid of stuff it's not good for you.
So it's a good detoxing mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. That's one of the benefits.
And how often should you do these long fasts? So I know you said you do intermittent fasting pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
Now you're going to do a 6 fast. Okay. Now you're going to do a 6 day
fast. We're doing the extended fast, the 6-day, once a quarter. So 4 times a year. Okay.
4 times a year. Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
this is the fourth one that I've done.
Now, some people do a 3-day fast. Some do 6 or 7 days. And then I've heard people even doing 30 days fast, water fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think from the studies that I've read, anything over, most of the benefit comes probably by the 4th day.
Okay.
But you can go longer if you have a desire to push it a little bit. And some of it is just because it just really, it's like a lifestyle almost. I'm nurturing and loving my body by doing this, and it's responding well. My eyesight's better. I don't have to wear night glasses, or I used to have to wear readers to read the menu in the restaurant at night. I don't have to do that anymore. I can read really well. It's getting better. My skin's better. I've lost moles and tags and things, and skin tags just drop off. And my sleep is better. I used to have to get up and go to the bathroom like 3 or 4 times a night. And now it's down to 1, maybe. All these little things that add up as you get older that you don't think about when you're young. But as you get older, brain fog, you forget things. I was forgetting everything. It's like, I cannot remember that. It's like really frustrating. And I was experiencing that. But that's pretty much gone now. I still have my moments where I can't remember things, but most of the time I'm like, bam, bam, bam. And then when I need energy, when I want energy, it's there. And my body feels good.
That's very interesting that you say that, because many times when people start fasting, they're not feeling the energy. So was that
Yeah.
the case for you when you first started?
Yes. Yeah. It was difficult. Especially the first one was really hard. And the only reason I got through it is because I understood there's a process. And when you get yourself acclimated properly, it's a very cleansing and wonderful experience. And
Okay.
this time seems like, with the numbers I'm seeing, and the way I feel right now after the first day, I think this one's going to be really close to that ideal. So I'm
That's
kind of I'm excited because it's really helping me reduce my risk of disease, helping me increase my immune system, improve that. And it helps my microbiome. It helps my mitochondria, gives them a rest so they can kind of reform and kind of regroup. And everything gets better.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great to hear, because fasting isn't. I think that's kind of the new wave of knowledge coming through right now as far as the health uh, industry is going, because I'm hearing about fasting from so many
Yeah.
different sources. So this is great that we're talking about this, and that you got to give us a personal little how you monitor it. So that was cool.
Yeah.
So
You got to see all this. Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
in
fun.
real time. In real time.
Yeah.
So, but there's two different things. You have a ketone monitor and a glucose monitor. Too bad they can't combine the two.
Well, this one monitor does both.
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool. So it's nice to have, and it'll store the numbers for you too. And then I have a brand new one that I just got that actually has a Bluetooth, so it'll communicate with an app.
Oh,
So it'll
wow.
transfer all that data to an app and put it online, and do all that. But I
Really
like
fancy.
the old school. Yeah, it's really fancy.
That's
And I
great. Well, Jim, go
go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna
No,
say I'm
we're
really glad. Go
your
ahead.
turn.
I was just saying I'm just
We're
really
both
glad.
like hosts. It's like, yeah, we're like, because I have a show too, right? So it's like I'm not
Well,
used to
I was
talking.
gonna say
Shut
I'm
up.
really glad that you are that you came on tonight, because I know you've been busy doing all sorts of things. So I'm glad that you're sharing all of this with us. This is pretty exciting. So I was gonna say, as the time goes by so fast, Jim, when you're
It
sitting here
does.
having a great conversation. What would you like to leave us with? I mean, you talked about so many good stuff. So what would you like to leave us with?
Oh, well, I think, thank you for asking that. I think if this time together maybe inspired you to do something new, step out of your comfort zone and explore, just move out into the unknown and try something new, meet some new people, and think about your mission here on earth, including experiencing joy every day. That would be beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I love seeing the joy on your face. And I've been really loving seeing your pictures of you and Lisa. And you are always just smiling, and you can see the joy in your face. So, Jim, I am so glad that we got to meet
Me
in
too. Yeah.
person.
Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Yeah.
I rarely get to talk this much.
Well, I'm glad you had the opportunity to talk this much. This is great. So, yeah, and you shared a lot of great stuff. I'm excited about your new book coming out. And of course, viewers and listeners, go to YouTube and look up Bold Leadership Stories with Jim Miller, and check him out. Check out his live streams. Now, are you also going live on Facebook as well?
Yeah, right now I'm Facebook, 2 places on Facebook, my profile, and then a page I got, Well Team One, and then I'm doing YouTube, and then I'm
Awesome.
gonna go big like Xena and do the, I think, what do you got, 8? You got 8
I've got,
platforms?
yeah, it's got a maximum of 8. Yeah, the wonderful thing about StreamYard is you can stream up to 8 destinations. I think you can even do more if you go to another tier level, because I think Ken says that he can do 10, which is
Wow.
pretty amazing. And that is the nice thing about StreamYard, is that, yeah, it goes out to multiple destinations at once, and you get to download the video and the audio, and so you can still upload it, the audio file, into an actual audio podcast. So you've got multiple assets using StreamYard, and that's what I love about it. Plus, if you notice, it's really clear, because you used to do it on Zoom, right, Jim?
Yeah,
Yeah. And there's a difference when people
much
do their
better.
interviews, more clarity, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And
Yeah.
it's like really
So
responsive, and you can do things like cool things, bringing up the stripe thing going across, the what do they call it, a tickler going across.
yes. Mm-hmm.
That's fun. So yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's really cool.
it is really cool. Well, I look forward to following you on YouTube, and you guys, you found value in this, which I can't imagine that you didn't. Please be sure to share this out. Jim obviously shared a lot of great information, so absolutely share it out. Go follow him on social media, and get a hold of him. He's such a nice guy. I'm sure he would love to chat with you. So get a hold of him. He's got all sorts of great things going on in his life, and so I always have a hard time saying goodbye, because I have so much fun on these interviews. So it's like the long goodbye sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
So,
cool.
but
Yeah,
I do have to say goodbye. And I really enjoyed this time, Jim. So we will talk soon, okay? And so you take
yeah.
care, and we'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon. All righty, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on American Dreammakers. What a fun and interesting topic that we were talking about. And if you want to have more information on any of the topics that Jim talked about this evening, absolutely make sure you get a hold of him. So I do believe that the American dream belongs to all of us. Not only can you achieve it, but you can go beyond. Jim Miller is absolutely an American dream maker. And I love all of you American dream makers that watch this show. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. That will help American dream makers get the message out. And if you'd like to be a guest on American Dream Makers, get a hold of me. I'd love to chat with you. So we will see you later. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.